I can derive a control for these kind of pattern, for four things here, for four kinds of pattern here. The first one is relationship between two persons in a legal relation. The second one is relationship between a condition and a promise, and a promise and a promise. The third one is I will imply control for transfer of a right, or in case of a duty, they call this the novation. When you transfer duty to another, you no longer have the duty. The fourth one is about assignment. You have the right, but you assign some other person to be the beneficiary of the right. Or in case of duty, you have the duty, but you delegate the task to others to perform the action for you. So here is one example for the first kind of thing about the unilateral contract. Here is one example. This is the deotic process model of a unilateral contract. For instance, a simple contract like that. I lost the computer, and I promised that everyone return me the computer. I give them $1,000. It may be the soft value of the computer is valuable for me than the half value. So I promise that return me the computer. I pay you or the person who bought it $1,000. So this is the person, the other person do not have any obligation. You see, if you buy it, you return to me and you get 1,000. If you don't, that's fine. You have no obligation. But the promiser is the person who has the obligation. If the other person returns the computer, he has to return $1,000. So
there can be fraud on that. Like I can bring a similar computer that doesn't contain your web paper, all those research.
You need to verify that.
That should be the control in that case.
Yeah. Look at the potential fraud. From the pattern, I identify a number of potential fraud. For instance, X is the person, another person, and Y in that case is the person who makes the promise. The person who makes the promise. So for the other person, it may be a fraud that after the other person perform the activity, and they may return the computer, and I say, no, I have no contract, I have no promise. I do not promise to pay you $1,000 at all. This is one kind of fraud. The second kind of fraud, you get the computer, you return it to me, and I say, no, I don't get the computer from you, it's my computer. I don't get anything from you, so I don't pay you. Even though I promised, that's fine, but this is my computer, and I don't get it from you, it's mine, it's here, for instance. The third one is during the time you're searching for the computer, assume this is the cost, this is the cost consuming task. You need to repair the product or something like that. And you ensure that during that period, I do not revoke my promise. This is typical in international trade, what they call a non-revocable or irrevocable letter of credit.
And you can derive these frauds automatically from the input of that deontological contract.
Yeah. And look at the way, this is, I stipulate the principle. The principle actually in the form of if, then, if deontological process and the business contact, then what is the control requirement, constraint, or the control goal, or something we will finalize in the term. But let's say the control requirement.
Can you go back to the previous one? So, Ronnie just said that he derived the right-hand side from the picture net, or the other way around?
Derive the right-hand side from the picture net.
From the picture.
Using these patterns that he's going to tell you about.
Yeah, so where did you get that picture?
That's the
this
input,
here, it's
that's
right
this
here.
input model.
Yeah.
That is the terms of the contract. He's providing the notation, but it's the users that decide on what their terms are.
Okay, so you supply the left-hand side of the picture net, you derive the right-hand side.
Yes.
So that's kind of like the input, and he's going to derive the control requirements to make that work.
Yes.
Intuitively, it's like the parties get together, and then they say, oh, now I got to go talk to the lawyers. The lawyers now add, well, he's going to be the lawyer. He's going to add all the stuff that the lawyers would add to a contract to make sure that it's right.
What you saw here on the left-hand side is the thing that you have here on the bottom. I mean, from the user requirement, usually rule negotiation. You need to have obligation, I have that's right, and so on. And finally, we put down together. We agree together on the term and condition. We put down this kind of model. The thing, one of the contribution is I provide a standard set of modeling construct, as you see here.
Right.
To model
Can you tell me
this
how
kind
you
of-
derive the first one? Look at the picture and how do I know the first one?
No, the thing is, I think.
So how do you derive the first product?
The first, the process here is based on analysis. The thing is, we analyze the pattern, and in the.
So the picture alone
You go
is
here. You go
inadequate,
here.
right?
No, this is the same picture, the way I derive Newton. In the CP document, this is the pattern. This is the pattern within the box.
So somewhere you have the information that if this is the pattern, then this is the plot that may occur.
Exactly. If this is the pattern, this is the requirement. If this is the pattern, this is the requirement.
Okay, so
That's what you're doing.
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
That's your basic delivery,
Yes.
right? That's set of pattern.
Yes.
So basically, you will develop a certain way to identify the pattern from this.
Exactly. The second one is about pattern.
No,
That's a
so-
little hierarchy.
Distinguish control, goal, and fraud. Are they the same?
It's two sides of the same coin. It's two sides of the same coin. If you have a fraud, someone open the door, the control requirement is that you put a check on the door first. It's two ways to look at any of the same problem. If I identify a fraud, I need to have a requirement to prevent that. So,
Because you see, now your committee is starting to understand what you're going to do.
okay. But look, let me explain a little bit. This is one of the pattern. And the pattern in the document is about the principle number 3. Because currently I write 10 principles that cover different structure of deontic relationship. And you see here, this is a structure. This is one structure of the deontic relationship. If you have a promise to do something under certain condition, then you have a duty to do that thing under certain condition. And for the other, for the person who has the conditional right, because you have a duty, correlated to that is some other person has a conditional right. What the other person should have to ensure that they can prevent from the opportunistic behavior of the person who makes promise. So the other person should have evidence of the right. The evidence should be issued by Y or a third party that is trusted by Y. Currently, the principle is specified informally. The next step of the research would be to represent it formally. The evidence should be received by X before performing alpha. If you, after you perform alpha and the other refuse that they do not make the promise, then you cannot claim that. So the thing here, apply the first principle, we have a set of control requirements. And so on, we scan the process. In the CP document, you will see I scan, they apply. If you look at the box, there is a way to scan through the process. And if there's matching pattern, a number of control requirements need to be satisfied. And if you match this pattern also very interesting. Why perform? That means I give the person who returned me the computer $100,000. What happens if this person provide me a wrong evidence? He said that he gave the evidence, the computer to my wife. That typically happens in the context of international trade. We have different people located in different geographies. We cannot directly observe the other activity directly. So the thing we need to rely on the statement from the trusted party, some people in between to moderate the transaction.
Just to clarify, your pattern is not dependent on the domain, like not dependent on whether it's international trade or something else.
Right. It's about the contractual context, and the domain of international trade is used for validation. It's about the inter-organizational contract.
So your pattern is just restricted to
international trade.
So effectively, if your contractual hierarchy is valid, then your deontic model should be valid. Your pattern should be valid if your